All right, so I guess we're going to get started in just a few moments. I am Furious Angle. This is the first session of the live stream of Star Wars: Life During Wartime, a fantasy flight role-playing game based on the Star Wars series using the Edge of the Empire rules. So we shall see how this all pans out. Just kind of waiting for everyone to pop online. Hey, Karmic, how's it going?
Hello, it's going.
That well, all right. Hey, Circle Master. Welcome.
Hello. How's it going?
Not bad for a Sunday. How about you?
I'm hanging in there.
Hey, Darius. Welcome.
Hey,
I think we're just waiting on Ral.
well, I'm good until about 8:25, and then I need to step out for about 15 or 20 minutes, and then I'm good.
All right.
I unfortunately have to conduct an interview and then come right back.
All right. Well, thank you for the heads up. Best of luck on the interview.
He probably needs more luck than I do, but yeah, I would have done it another time, but I didn't really have a choice. This is when he said he was available, so, and I'm on a deadline.
So, speaking of deadlines, I know Ramba said that he needed to walk the dogs. I don't know exactly how long that would take. But do you guys want to give him like 2 more minutes, and then we could start without him, and then just fill him in on whatever happened?
That's the first session. I mean, I'm willing to wait a little longer for him.
All right, I'm willing to wait however long you guys are willing to wait. Circle, you're cracking up again. Sounds like there's some sort of weird distortion with your, I don't know, Discord maybe?
That's my. How do I sound now?
Good.
If this keeps being an issue, I don't know if it'll be a good idea for me to stick around with. So we're trying to stream it and everything. If I keep having to drop and rejoin.
Well, I mean, I'm not super invested in the streaming. This is just something that I'm doing to test out the whole process. So I don't want it to be a factor that's going to make anyone drop. But if there's an issue with communication and it's frustrating for you, and there's that disconnect as far as being able to understand each other. I mean, I totally understand. But I think last time after you
well, that's what I'm worried about.
I think last time after you disconnected and reconnected, it was fine.
Yeah, and it looks fine now, but I don't know. I don't trust it anymore. I've had weird issues lately.
Yeah, and same thing for me. If I start cracking up or breaking off or anything, you guys just let me know. Because, yeah, I also don't fully trust my connection. And also I'm using sound activated. I'm not using push to talk, so... Ooh, speaking of which...
Sorry about that.
No problem. Welcome. So I guess we can go ahead and get started with our first session on this game. I forgot one thing that I wanted to bring up last time, because I have a problem with voices, and I'm not going to put voices to people names and certainly not to character names yet. If you could kind of start off, whenever you say you're going to do something, just make sure you're saying your character name does this as you narrate it. That would be super helpful for both me and anyone that might be listening to the stream. So great. First session. Before we get started, does anyone want to ask anything, or just jump right into it?
Force dice?
I can't think of anything.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It's been a while, so yeah, you guys help me out as much as possible. It's been a couple years since I played the system, and it's been more since I've GM'd the system. So I already went ahead and rolled for your obligation. If you're all right with that, I'd like to do that before the game even starts. That way I can make sure that I incorporate whatever obligation occurs into the story. I think that would be better narratively. But if you guys really want to roll for it yourself, we can certainly do that. But if nothing else, everyone roll a force die to see what kind of... Oh, actually, hang on a second. That's right. I forgot. We have a system for that. It's my first time using it, so...
Like a generate force pool or whatever?
Yeah. Yeah. So in your character sheet, under the character sheet tab, under the Destiny pool, you'll see a Roll Destiny button. If you click that, that should sync to the...
Yes, it is.
All right, so... There, cool. So, the way it looks now, we have 3 dark and 1 light.
Inauspicious.
All right, it's a good start for me. All right, so let's get started. You're sitting in the corner of Jeep Jerpsom's Jizz Joint, a seedy little cantina on the wrong side of the city of Dometry. You're keeping your feelers out for a new score, something that'll keep the credits rolling in and the roof over your head, when all of a sudden the screen behind the bar lights up. Apparently there's a HoloNet broadcast that concerns you. Citizens of Ord Thoden, comes the refined voice of a proud-looking man, well-dressed in his late 40s. The Chiron identifies him as Governor Risu. I'm issuing a planet-wide state of emergency. The Empire is here to contain and protect you to the best of their ability, but for the duration, all travel to and from the planet is strictly prohibited. Please work with our proud Imperial representatives. With that, Governor Risu walks off the screen, and the image changes to that of 2 Imperial Star Destroyers coming out of hyperspace and entering orbit around Ord Thoden. On screen, a nearby freighter appears to be leaving the planet's gravity well, as a barrage of laser fire is launched from the Star Destroyer directly at it. The broadcast dies before the inevitable conclusion. It appears the Empire is here, and they mean business.
Well, fuck.
That was really hardcore for a news report.
Yeah, apparently they didn't cut the feed in time. So you're all sitting at a bar in your local cantina and Jizz Joint, and I turn it over to you.
Well, then I guess we're not going to be able to start leaving at all. So, I guess we're going to be staying here for an extended period.
Not exactly the best thing for some of us.
Finding a way out is always harder than it appears, but not impossible. If we wish to flee, we can try.
Of course, those Star Destroyers are probably going to be, thinking in 2Ds. We just go, up when we leave through the polar regions. We'll be...
Yeah, I don't think that's how it works.
Can I get a outer rim to see what I know about maybe like smuggling operations or anything like that to get away from the Empire, or would that be more of an underworld?
Well, you tell me. I'd like to go ahead and have you roll whatever skill you feel is applicable.
I think rolling Outer Rim would probably be like with like a setback die or something like that, because I think Underworld's probably more applicable, but
that sounds fair.
we're in the Outer Rim, so. All right. Yeah, so just a couple of advantage. Maybe narratively, I could spend that to say that I noticed some other small detail in the background of the broadcast that maybe might not be applicable to what I'm looking to do right now, but might be handy to all of us.
Okay, well, you saw what you recognized to be Governor Risu's personal spacecraft sailing right past the blockade and about to jump to hyperspace.
Was it what was fired upon?
No, it was another craft. Okay. It was allowed to go between the Star Destroyers. The other one was off to the side, and they lit it up.
Okay, so Kazan will speak up and say, looks like the didn't slow the governor down.
See? And that is a way we can leave the planet. We just need to find a way to convince the Imperial ships that we are not to be fired upon.
By pretending to be a bunch of people working for the governor and all that, we just, lap our badges, all of that, and that goes.
Could I do a Core Worlds knowledge skill for or maybe warfare for what the standard operating procedure is as far as these kinds of travel restrictions go?
Warfare seems applicable.
All right. What's the difficulty on that?
For standard stuff, I just say, what's that, an average check, so 2 purple?
All right. Let me see if I can do this correctly. I believe I did.
All right. So, standard operating procedure for this kind of thing is basically, it sounds like, given the language the governor used, sounds like a blockade scenario. Now, you guys are at the end of a hyperlane, so there's really only one path out of here. So there's really only one section the Empire is going to have to block. You could certainly run the blockade, but then you'd have to dodge battery fire from both Star Destroyers as well as a contingent of TIE fighters. Typically, only people with the highest level of Imperial clearance are allowed to pass. Did you have any particular questions that I might not have answered?
When it comes to who is and isn't allowed to pass, is that determined by interrogation? Do they hail oncoming ships? Is it based on transponder codes? If you're not on the list, they just shoot you. It kind of sounds like the latter based on that news report, but just to clarify.
So what happened on the news report doesn't match up with what you understand the procedures to be. Typically speaking, they'll try and hail the ship first, and then if that doesn't happen, they might either try and blow it up to make an example out of it, or they might try and board it, disable the ship and then board it.
So what we saw in the news report was an unusual show of force.
To your understanding, yes.
Okay.
The people around the bar have started to chatter amongst themselves. It had been kind of somber before, and now there's sort of an air of panic creeping across the patrons. The bartender looks particularly nervous.
Asif just sighs as he just looks around and then tries to strike up a conversation with some of these regulars, trying to see what's up with those Imperials. Usually, you know, they kind of mind their own business from the Outer Rim, and now they're coming in waving their hammer around everything. Not good for business. Not good for anything.
Do you want to just kind of roleplay that out, or is there a particular skill you wanted to use?
I think a charm can be good for that, but I can also roleplay it out.
All right, yeah. I guess give me a charm roll to kind of see the general tone of this.
Okay, standard difficulty?
Let's make it easy. They're all pretty socially lubricated right now, so... All right. So yeah, you pick out a let's say a
down on his luck smuggler who keeps getting entangled with Imperials even though he doesn't want to, and he keeps trying to get away from it all.
All right. Yeah. So it's an old Rhodian guy, and he looks particularly long in the tooth. He's just drowning in space whiskey, and as he comes up, and I'm not even going to attempt to do the Rhodian voice, that I don't think is possible. But he sees you and waves his beer in your face and says, "Well, isn't this just typical?"
Yeah, I mean, you should have been there on Nar Shaddaa when these Imperials came in. They wanted to kick a lot of cans. But of course, you know, there was Hutz the Bride and look at other rivals to get, you know, rid of them. So I'm wondering why they're here.
Let's see. So he kind of leans in close and says, "Look, I don't like this at all. This is really close to that weird broadcast that started supposedly going up on the underground HoloNet around here. They tried to shut it down. But there's some net operators that are still doggedly playing it. So I thought it was a hoax, something, you know, fake HoloNet news. But apparently, I don't know. I can't say for certain. It's just, you know, it's just rumors."
Whoa, this is the first time I've been hearing about it. What was the video at all?
I don't know. I'm not going to watch that. Who has the time to watch HoloNet? I'm working in the mines when I can, and I'm, you know, flying my ship when that option is available to me.
Yeah. Well, then you have missed last seasons of Dr. Baka PhD, where the best coronet hospital drama ever, it seems.
Boy, I remember those days when I could watch HoloNet all day long. Good times.
Yeah. Good times. Well then, I guess the Imperials are going to cut that soon anyway. I guess Asif is going to go and head back to the rest of the party group to let them know is apparently someone did an illegal broadcast and that got the Imperials spooked.
I don't think that they would be instituting a blockade just over a pirate holonet station.
There should be more details.
I mean, I never saw the broadcast, so I can't comment on it, gang, but I do believe is that maybe the nature of that broadcast got, the Emperor a bit angry. He tends to be very, very, very insane.
A simple broadcast itself would not be the whole of it. We should find out what is being broadcast then.
If nothing else, kind of people that would run one of those broadcasts must know something.
They also must have a exfiltration plan in case these people are.
I know some rebels and that type. Yeah, I doubt it.
So as you're sitting there discussing this, one of the patrons, an old Cathar kitty cat man, stands up and staggers towards the exit. At that point, the door is opened rather suddenly, and a trio of Imperial Army troopers march in and block his exit. Well.
Well, that didn't take long.
Look what we have here. Little cat man. Big old overgrown low cat. Out of his element, one of them says as he kind of pushes the Cathar a little bit. The other two stand menacingly at either side.
Do they appear to be on duty or off duty?
They appear to be, they're in full uniform.
Are these officers or stormtroopers?
They are just Imperial Army troopers. They're not in, stormtrooper armor. They're just wearing army clothes.
I had the gray uniform.
Oh, then Asa is just going to rub his chin as he goes over to talk to the rest in a much more quiet voice. I think it'd be best if we can convince the bartender to just give them a couple of free rounds on the house. I'll get them distracted so we can just mosey on out.
So they are threatening the Cathar, but are they doing anything to prevent the Cathar from walking?
Yeah, he's trying to duck around them, and they keep blocking his way. And every time he tries to move, one of them jabs two fingers in his shoulder, pushing him back ever so slightly.
This idea of yours has merit.
Yeah, so, they'll look at me to go talk to the bartender, right? In that sort of comedy moment.
I'm gonna edge out of my seat and sort of quietly slip closer to the disturbance, but not close enough that they're gonna say something to me.
Gand does not have the skills to accomplish your plan.
Well then,
Gand will stay here and provide covering fire if it is needed.
well, if it ends up like that, that's going to be bad all around, I hope. So, let's not hope it doesn't. So, Asaf is going to have what I assume to be a hard check, because no bartender wants to give away free drink.
Well, I'll tell you that's not the case. I'll tell you it's an average check, because the bartender is looking extremely nervous at this situation, because it could go bad real fast.
Now then it's going to be a lot of schmoozing here. So then I go get this going. Oh, God.
All right. So that is a success, a threat, and a triumph. So for threat, or sort of for the threat, I definitely say take a point of strain, because this situation is very tense. Two of the army troopers have just put their hands on their sidearms.
Yes. So it has the success is getting that going, and then getting the guy's attention away from the cat to this thing, and now I'm gonna have to talk with him, trying to convince him, you guys, this is your sandbox, all of that, isn't it? So, sit down, relax for a while. No one's gonna do anything. You can have a couple of drinks. I'm sure our friend here is willing to, cover the costs.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were trying to charm the bartender, not the troopers.
No, I was able to charm the bartender,
Okay.
but I'm guessing not with the triumph getting. Well then, is this actually what's on stone? What you have for the spending suggestion?
So what I would suggest is you definitely get the bartender to approve the free drinks, and with that triumph, you could say he even helps you, which would upgrade your check.
Okay, yeah. So then I get these goings. I'm gonna actually wave down to those Imperials in a friendly manner. This is gonna be a lot more difficult because anti-species.
So you're trying to charm them?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to charm them to just, be like, distract them. You're like, oh wow, we're getting free drinks? This is great.
All right. Give me just a moment.
Because these are Imperials. Imperials love to be bribed. There's no sense of, honest.
Yeah, that ship has sailed. All right, so it's just going to be their cool. So it's going to be a difficulty of 2 purple. But since you got that triumph, you upgrade your check.
Okay, and then I'm gonna go use a leg side token to upgrade.
I got to start using that dark side.
You got a lot of them. It's supposed to go back and forth, my friend.
It is. All right, so because I'm feeling uncreative, that threat definitely get the take another point of strain.
Oh man, okay.
It's stressful, yeah.
They're heavy drinks. You have to lift with both hands to bring them out to them.
Like the respect for the Imperials are gone because they're girl drink drunks. They want King Squirrel.
Yeah, so go ahead and let's role play this out. How you get their attention, because they seem like they are really interested in bossing that Cathar around.
Well then, my friends, let me tell you about something. This is gonna be, let's say it's not gonna be about a bub kiss, but this is one of the best drinks you can get out here in the Outer Rim. He uses this weird thing known as, what was it about? Salt into this thing. Strange sort of fruit that is apparently fermented, all of that. And they sometimes leave that thing a worm in a bottle for it.
They glare at you, and then they glare back at the Cathar, who is really meekly scraping and bowing, trying to get them to not see him as a threat. And eventually, your tactic works. They part and let the Cathar through. The man turns and gives you a weak but appreciative smile. You feel something odd, but it's a fleeting moment. It just passes you, and he's gone.
Okay, good.
Meanwhile, troopers come over and they basically snatch the alcohol out of your hand and they say, "Yeah, that's right," and just start drinking.
Yes, they enjoy their margaritas.
So, how long have you been in town, Toydarian?
Oh my goodness, it's been about 3 standard now HUD days, all of that. So I think it's about equivalent to, what is it? Coruscant, 5 weeks in Coruscant or something like that.
It looks like they're doing the math in their head, but it's not working. The leader seems to nod and says, "All right, well, you being an upstanding member of society, you tell us if you've seen something unsavory, right? Something out of the ordinary for this neck of the woods."
Oh, I've tried to do my best, but my goodness, there's a lot of little kilns around here. That's
Well, I think it's safe to say you could come in with us and we could ask you a couple of questions. And being an upstanding member of society, I'm sure you wouldn't mind cooperating.
oh then. Well, apparently I got nothing else to do for my afternoon, so I guess so. But
How long has it been since the dude left? That he was distracted to let by.
I mean, we're talking like maybe 2 minutes. Maybe.
That's probably enough of a head start that dude is gone.
He
So
looked very
I'm gonna-
spry. He probably is.
I'm gonna sort of walk up urgently. Do any of them look like they fancy themselves the leader, whether they actually are or not?
Yeah, there's the one that's standing at the center. The other two always seem to be flanking him.
Alright. Fuck it, I'm gonna use it anyway. I'm gonna use Sense to try to...
Ooh, you can't. You need a...
oh, yeah, I gotta flip one? That's right.
Yeah, and we're out.
Okay, yeah, never mind then. I won't use it. I'll just walk up and, I'll sort of walk up to the one that looks like he's the leader urgently, and I'll sort of, like, tug at his like, shirt sleeve or whatever, like, conspiratorially, and lean in and start talking, and be like, "Do you have any idea who that was you just let by?"
He narrows his eyes and looks at you. Why don't we... I'm guessing this is a deception roll. Is that the case?
I'm gonna go with a coercion, actually.
You're gonna try and browbeat him into...
I'm gonna try to browbeat this motherfucker, because I'm going to lean into it and basically be like, "Do you have any idea how long we've been tracking him and you just let him by?"
So basically, you're going to pretend to be ISB here.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna go for the, like, I'm an undercover agent, but, like, I'm not gonna focus on the facts. I'm just gonna, like, get in the guy's face and try to, like, make him flustered.
Okay. So that's going to be a coercion roll against their discipline. So that's going to be a red and a purple, but I'm also going to use a dark side point to upgrade that.
Double red. Okay.
Yeah, 2 red. And also a black for the general state of heightened emergency that's going on planet-wide.
All right. Well, this is literally the only thing I'm good at, so hopefully it goes well. Really? Oh, what a terrible fucking set of blank faces.
So
What
that
a terrible night to have a curse!
Hey, Star Wars is not about succeeding. It's about failing in interesting ways.
yeah. So the despair there has them. They move
nice.
away from the Toydarian, and they start staring you down. And what, pray tell, the leader says, leaning into you, have you been tracking him for? Now they all have hands on their blasters.
I think I'm just going to keep leaning into it because that's the only option I really have.
Would you like Kaban to come help?
I don't think I can answer that in character. I think I'm too busy. I will attempt another coercion, which probably is either more difficult or covered under the original role. But I'm basically just going to say something like I'm going to sort of like try to tower as much as I can and make myself like bigger and imposing. And I'm going to say, "You idiot! Do you think you have clearance to know that?"
All right, so this time I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to use the... I use the despair narratively, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a dark side point to upgrade it again, and then I'm going to, because of the first failure, I'm going to add another setback die. So it's going to be two red, 2 black.
Okay. I'll flip a light side back for an upgrade.
Okay.
And I'm going to see if I can do this too. I'm going to try to sense his emotions to see if maybe that will give me like a direction to go in with my coercion.
He is scared and also angry.
Okay.
So I'd say that's a boost die. So your normal roll plus a boost with 2 red, 2 setback.
Well, those are always interesting.
Well,
we have.
Don't forget to flip the.
I did. Yeah, it's. I did it for him.
Okay.
All right, so
If it didn't update, hit sync pool the GM.
force player
Mine
update.
did not update until it did that.
How about that?
Okay. Well, no, because he used one to upgrade and he used one for the sense, right? So it
Oh
should
yeah,
be,
you're right. You're right. Okay.
it should be 0 light and 4 dark again.
I did not use one for the sense. I rolled white. I did not need to use one for the sense.
Oh, okay.
If we'd had one before, I would have. I would have used it the first time, but we didn't have one, so I couldn't. And this time I rolled double white, so it was okay.
All right. Well, this is an interesting one to try and decipher. We've got a 2 success, one of those being a triumph, and a despair.
I have an idea.
I know what I'm going to do with the despair. You tell me what the rest of it is.
Okay, mine included the despair. You do whatever you're going to do then. I was just going to say, maybe he doesn't necessarily buy into it, but he buys into it enough that he's more scared of being wrong than he is disbelieving me. So he decides to check it out, but it only gives us a small window because he's going to figure it out quickly and come after us.
Okay, I will meet you halfway on that one. He looks at his 2 buddies and says, "Oh well, so sorry. You go ahead and tell him what you're going to tell him, and then I'll play out the outcome."
I'm just going to sort of hiss at him like, we've been tracking those Holonet broadcasts for weeks, and he was the facilitator. Why do you think I'm in this dive bar, you idiot?
All right. So he squints his eyes at you, and your force sense is still active. I'm going to say so. You can tell he's struggling with it. And he comes to a conclusion. He looks at his friends and says, "You guys stay here with them. Don't let them leave. I'm going to go check this out." And he exits the bar. So it's now just the 2 of them with the 4 of you.
And also the rest of the bar patrons and the bartender, presumably.
True.
yeah, I'm just gonna sort of like casually glance at everybody else in the group, like with like sort of like a shrug, like, all right, well, next.
I'm gonna
Marcus avoids making eye contact with any of what's going on. He's at the bar pretending he doesn't know any of these people.
Yes. Well, then the only solution is we're gonna have to get into the libations and get these people to get loosen their guard through lots of margaritas. So, could I try to do a leadership check now that their sergeant is gone?
Leadership on whom?
The 2 remaining Imperials. Get them drunken so we can get out.
I'm trying to think. Can you commandeer...
They're supposed to recognize you as a leader figure in some fashion before you can use leadership, but I mean, you know, you can interpret it however you want as a GM.
Yeah. I'd say for that it would be a charm. That's the most likely, or a negotiation, if you could justify either of those. Or hell, deception really would work. You could even try and coerce them, but some of those are going to be a little bit easier to do than others.
I think I'll
Looking
just go
forward
with
to
a standard
Operation Peer
charm check.
Pressure.
Well then, my friends, since we're going to be here for a while, don't worry. Your drinks are going to get, well, they mostly are grounded ice and all that, so you don't want them to be all water by the time you get back to them.
The bartender goes, "Hey!"
What do you mean? You blended the ice, all of that. It's, you know, a Corellian margarita.
I don't water down my drinks.
Yes, look, we know, and I'm sure our friends here know that too, right?
I'm thinking the bartender looks... You remember the fat guy who was the Rancor's handler?
Oh my god.
Oh, yeah.
Like him, but he's wearing one of those tuxedo t-shirts. So, like, classy, you know?
Wrapped around his head.
I got his t-shirt too.
No, he's wearing the tuxedo t-shirt wrapped around his head. He's topless.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So you see his gross, greasy moobs. Yeah. I felt so bad for that guy. Anyway, so yeah, the 2... Well, go ahead and try your roll on them to convince them to drink. If it's coercion, deception, or leadership, it's discipline.
And charm.
Charm is cool.
Okay, how cool are they?
That's a good question. Not terribly is the answer. So it's just 2 purple.
Well, they're cooler than Kaban.
Well, now that they're distracted, my guess is I'm going to start pointing at the other 3 to start going away as they're just working on the drinks. They're like, man, this is great.
Yeah.
Dan would like to sneak out of here.
All right. So I'm going to say that's going to be a stealth, but
Oh god.
you're going to have some boost dice for... Well, so first of all, let's see. 3 successes. I mean, I know you're not really supposed to count successes as advantage for boost purposes, but
It's
honestly,
up to you. I mean, they're distracted, so they're focusing on something. So it could be along the lines of they gain boost die because they're focusing on the bar.
yeah. I'd say that it's let's say 2 boost versus just their what is it? I guess perception. So yeah, it's just 2 purple with 2 boost dice. This
Dan will attempt to sneak away.
okay. So as they are downing their watered down margaritas, space margaritas, they're both taking a sip like right as Kaban moves gracefully past them. slipping out the door without making a noise. Do you know what you want to do with that advantage?
Give Marcus a boost die.
I was going to. Kaban shall give the whoever goes next a boost die of assistance.
All right, perfect. So the next person to go will have 3 boost dice when trying to get past these 2 drunken assholes.
All right, Marcus is going to try to slip out then, being...
I'm going to argue about the drunk part, but you're right on about the latter part.
I really hope I'm good. I know I'm not good at this. I really hope I'm successful at this, I should say.
Yeah,
Marcus is going to be boldened by the GAN's success and try to follow after him.
You do have a light side point, just throwing that out there.
It's not worth it.
Okay. Okay. So, I'd kind of like for you guys to describe how you're doing your actions, and use whatever results you get on your roll to kind of illustrate that. So, do you want to describe how Marcus sneaks past them?
He's kind of gonna bury his face in his data pad and just rely on the fact that he's not a weird alien and they're inherently racist to use his human privilege to go unnoticed.
And that's exactly what happens. They don't seem to be paying attention to anyone but the Toydarian that's feeding them drinks. And one of them even says, "You know, for a Toydarian, you ain't so bad."
I guess you're okay for a goy.
What'd she say? So,
it's our turn for a human, all of that.
what's Kazan doing? He has kind of left the trooper's sphere of attention right now.
I feel like they look distracted enough that he might be able to maybe lift their data pad off the counter.
You can certainly try. It's going to be another stealth roll.
Yeah, I could give it a try.
And I'm going to upgrade that.
I will set my data pad on the counter next to it, just casually, beforehand, and then wait 20 or 30 seconds later before I try it, just so that I have a fallback plan.
Okay, so the difficulty for that is going to be 1 red, 1 purple, with a setback for the general state of panic on the planet.
So you said it's 1 red, 1 purple?
1 red, 1 purple, 1 setback.
Does my sense still being active give me anything? Maybe a boost die for waiting for him to be the most distracted in the conversation?
I don't think you could have really kept it going for that long unless you wanted to keep rolling and rolling and rolling, because I don't think there's really a sustain at early levels. You could try again. You could try using it again.
No, let's just streamline things. I don't need to keep using it all the time. 2 advantage, so... yeah, I'll just say that that I don't see an opening, so I just sort of, wave off. And then I will just try to leave the bar instead.
Okay, so yeah, that's going to be another... with 2 purple, 1 setback, because I'm not upgrading this one.
Ooh, okay. Maybe I get noticed.
So yeah, we'll say that they're a little bit more aware of you because you talked to their boss, and they turn to you and say, "Oh, where are you going, friend? We're just getting to know your little Toydarian buddy here."
Say he was 100% referred to with the "keep them from leaving."
What now?
The order was keep them from leaving. An order just vague enough that the rest of us could have escaped, but it has to include
both the people that were being talked to.
Yeah. So, what are you doing with the advantage?
Toydarian is still there. I'd like to take one boost forward on my next action.
Okay.
And the Toydarian is still there, so I can't just run for it. I could, but it's the less good option. You do have wings.
The less
but
good option would be try to start a firefight when we're all the scholar class, and not one of us is a shooter. Unless the Gans finds
the shooter left.
the Gans first.
I'm guessing you guys, the ones who left, are probably waiting just outside. I don't think that you said you'd continue running away, so technically the two of you could still be in the scene, aware of what's going on inside the cantina.
Oh yeah, no, the joke is, you know, I'm going to be honest with you. I'll try and make sure our friend here, Kazan, is able to get out. I'll just get back to distracting them a bit with a bit of small talk, being like, oh no, he just wants to go get a smoke break. Never had that sort of thing? Especially with, what is it?
Death sticks.
Yeah, death sticks.
Oh yes, why do they make them? It's basically a thing you just take to just kill yourself within a week. Who would ever thought they would make money out of that?
I don't know. They're the Star Wars equivalent of suicide booths, I guess.
Oh no, I'm talking to them about that.
So, are you trying to charm him into thinking that? Well, I guess
Lathering. That's the sort of thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna say at this point, unless you want to make a roll for it, they ain't buying the blathering.
Oh yeah, I'll be fine with making a roll for it. Same difficulties.
Well, what are we talking about? What skill are we talking about?
Oh, blathering is usually a charm thing.
Charm?
Just, you know.
All right, so at this point, I'm going to say 1 red, 1 purple, 2 setback.
I got kill with kindness, so that gives me 1 setback.
Cool.
Upgrade, because why not? Cool.
All right.
So, I'm able to at least give Kazan enough time to get that, and then they're going to start perhaps arguing about how stupid some of the drugs are that I could maybe exfiltrate my...
Yeah, okay, yeah. So, wait. You're going to go smoke a death stick? I mean, go for it, I guess. I mean... Is that how they work? Is that really how they work? You smoke one and then it kills you in a month? I've never heard of that. Then they're kind of trying to, I guess, check with Asaph if that's really what death sticks do, as if they don't know.
Yeah, I mean, face it. I mean, it's still legal too, and that's the crazy part, isn't it?
So I'm gonna say if they've taken their attention off of him. And they haven't given you permission to leave, but you can try another stealth roll if you want, Kazan.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I'll stealth first then. 2 purple and 1 black? What was it?
2 purple, 1 black, and you have a boost from your success.
Well, I didn't fail.
Okay, so you again, I'd say you probably don't notice an opening. All right, so your foresee roll. You're trying to foresee 1 day into your future?
It's up to a day, and I don't have any control over what it gives me, so just let me know when it's applicable.
Okay. I can go ahead and tell you that now.
Okay, it's up to how you want to do it.
So, you're getting this vague sort of flash forward of what's going to happen at the moment. And I imagine you've done this before a number of times. But this time, it's not terribly good. Within about 24 hours, so basically you see the sun circling, or the planet circling the sun, one full day's rotation, and at that point another ship shows up, but this one is a why am I always blanking on the name? The ones that prevent hyperspace travel.
Oh,
Interdictor cruisers.
Interdictor cruiser, and it's ISB, and that's about as much as you get from your vision before you kind of snap out of it.
Okay, well that's bad. Do I recognize the interdictor cruiser, or do I instinctually know what it means, or do I need to look that up or ask someone about it later?
About as much as you recognize is that it is ISB.
Okay, so that's fine. I know what that is, at least in a vague sense, that it's bad. So I'll talk to other people about the rest later. So I will just sort of watch for another opening and then try to leave again, I guess. I don't have very long, I don't think, before this guy comes back.
All right, let's see. All right, so the two of you that are in there and the two of you that are outside, what are your plans? What do you want to do?
I'm trying to make sure is that the other rest are going to be able to leave through the front door, and then I'm going to go and talk with the bartender and just leave through the back.
Those of you who are outside, are you just continuing to hide, or are you going to try and assist in any way?
I think Marcus is just going to hide. He's not very useful in this sort of situation.
Okay.
Gand is attempting to figure out a way to influence the events inside that does not involve causing a firefight.
Okay, so Gand, as you're sitting outside trying to figure out an opening for this, you notice the male Cathar seems to be stalking around outside the cantina, occasionally glancing in through one of the many windows.
Perhaps he will have some reason to go back in, which might cause things to get a little... Gand will approach.
All right, so Gand, as you're approaching him, you feel a strange, I guess, kind of a click in your head, like some sort of weird connection that the two of you have, that you feel every now and then with other people you meet. He sees you approaching and lets out kind of a sad sigh and says, I don't think your friends are in a very good position in there.
This is quite correct. They are grasping at straws as they attempt to get out of the bar and fail. Have you any recommendations?
None that don't involve me going in there and gutting them.
See, Gand thought about shooting in, but that was also a bad idea.
He's crouching now, kind of mulling it over, rubbing his chin as he's thinking. Well, you managed to get one of them away. Do you think we could further separate them?
Gand believes we can try. So Kaban is going to try to calm Kazim. Hopefully Kazim has a calm.
do.
So yeah, you're getting a call from Kaban out on the outside.
Yeah, I'll answer it. What is it, Cobb?
Gand has found the first Patsy, the first escaped attempt cover. Perhaps we could send someone further after it. Gand did not get your name. Very insulting to Gand. Gand is named Kaban Kalga. What is yours? Gand asked that question of the Cathar.
My name's Zam. I'm a pilot. So, good to meet you, Cabin.
Well, I can try to scare another pair of them into leaving or something, but I don't know that it's going to work.
What about a distraction?
What about a distraction?
We could cause one.
Just try not to burn the bar down while we're in here, I guess. I'll watch for anything.
What is kind of what's the layout of the street where we could set up some sort of confrontational distraction that would pull troops out of a bar, but would also allow us to escape the scene rather quickly?
So the kind of a layout, or rather setting the scene for the outside of the cantina. So the city is an industrial platform city that's suspended over the volcanic surface of the planet. Semi-sulfuric mists shoot up into the atmosphere, or semi-sulfuric water shoots up into the atmosphere, disperses into a mist that kind of fills the streets. So because of this, the visibility is very impaired. You can usually only see about 15 meters in front of your face. But other than that, there are... It's a huge industrial city, so there are hundreds of massive iron buildings. So that means lots and lots of alleyways. And at about this time of night, normally the streets are dead because low visibility means more chances for people to blindside you. So it's very dangerous.
So, for example, we could go out into one of the alleyways adjacent to the bar. Like, I guess fire a couple of shots off would be the best idea that I'm coming up with right now. And then use the low visibility to clear out so that when they come a knockin', they don't see what caused it.
So, Zam's once again rubbing his chin. That could work. He pulls out a blaster pistol. So, since you guys helped me, I figure I could return the favor. I'll take a shot at you and miss, and potentially draw the troopers away, or at least one of them.
That sounds like where we are standing.
All right. So, what's everyone else doing?
I switched off the comm link and I'm just sort of like lounging near the door looking for an opening to run.
I think Marcus is just getting well out of sight.
I just want to see how this turns out.
All right, so the Cathar stands right in front of the doors. And he says to the Gand, all right, so after I miss, I need you to hit me in the face.
Gand does not like that plan, but Gand is willing to go along with it.
Not too hard, if you please. So he takes his blaster pistol, aims it far off to the side, fires.
So is this a deception roll to throw this warped punch?
Yeah, it could be. We'll say it's easy. So just one purple.
I mean, is your brawl really high enough that you're worried about hurting him if you just punched him?
No, but Kaban is not going to like try and actually punch him to fake punch him.
Well, okay, let's say it's a simple. So just your roll.
Also, deception is the exact same as brawl.
Okay, well, either works then. All right. So yeah, you basically give him a love tap on the cheek, I'm guessing. Is that where you're going for?
Yes. Gand throws one of those very big, obvious haymakers.
All right, so it lightly connects with his cheek, and the Cathar goes flying in through the door to the cantina, lands, and before he even gets up into a crouch, he's fired again. This time his blast way overreaches, scorches the inside of the cantina. This definitely gets the attention of the troopers, who both draw their pistols.
Also should cause a panic.
Yep. Whatever. Well, let's go in order of names I see on the screen. So, what's Marcus doing?
Well, presumably he heard about the plans being also outside. He's just gonna stay well out of the way.
Okay. What is Kazan doing? So you just saw the Cathar come flying into the room, shooting a wild blast, and then hopping up into a crouch.
Oh, that seems like a distraction. Does he look like he's angling to run now, or angling to shoot it out with the two of them?
He's crouched like he's getting ready to sprint.
Okay, then I'm out the door.
Okay, so you are running with a number of other bar patrons who are legitimately panicking. The two troopers reach out with one hand as if to try and stop you, while the other hands pull their blaster pistols. What's Gand doing?
So now that this has started, if the firefight comes out, well, Gand is going to be taking a position across the street with his weapon.
Okay. What is Asaph doing?
Oh, he's getting out.
Okay, so you're fluttering away with the rest of the panicking Jizz patrons.
There's blaster fire going on, and I'm just yelling and tweeting about how this is going to be bad. Last thing I want to do is get scored. Be ruining the day.
All right, so pretty much like the entire bar is in the process of fleeing. The troopers manage to pull their pistols and fire a couple of stun rounds, and let's just see for the sake of this, how well they do. Oh shit. All right, well, that doesn't work. One green. What's the one for black again, or setback?
BLK.
BLK. All right. Oh, that's short range. Okay, good. Good that I remembered how to do it, but also good that they basically just fired ineffectually as the crowd ran panicking out of the room. So as the last one of you out looks back, you see the bartender just kind of looking stunned, not having reacted, and there's only a pair of confused army troopers left in there. Meanwhile, the Cathar has bolted into one of the alleys.
What about our Rhodian friend?
Oh, he escaped with the rest of them.
Okay, good.
So yeah, you're now all on the city streets. What exactly are you doing?
Well, guys, let's get going. Farther away from here, the better, right?
I concur.
Gan agrees.
What would it be to sort of like know where a good place to duck down would be?
Streetwise?
Streetwise, okay. Yeah, not me then.
Does anyone have any ranks in it?
Nope.
Does anyone have higher than 3 cunning?
I don't even have 3.
You can do it, my friend.
What would the difficulty be?
I'm gonna say you've lived here your entire life, right? So.
No, Gand has not lived here. Gand has not lived here for a moment. Gand is using use of average values.
Let's say just 2 purple then. So that is 3 failure, but 2 advantage. You could push 2 boost dice to someone else. I'm going to say that that's a scene change. So, Asaph, if you want to rule your... I think it's your cool to regain stress or strain.
Oh my goodness, that rule! Wow, that never was used in my table because no one ever really follows through with that. That's just a simple one, right?
Yeah, no difficulty, and it's cooler discipline. Oh wow, is that my doing?
It might have been on your GM layer.
Yep, it was. So, that just results in.
I get back.
All of it. Yeah.
Well, actually, looking back at that streetwise.
Yeah, you're right. So that would be... Well, it would still be a failure. Because it would be... yeah. Hold on a second. How did that... Yeah, because the 2 purple dice would have been 4 failures.
So it's 4 boost dice to pass on to someone who wants to try and find a hidey hole.
True.
As Kaban explains, basically all of the different types of hidey holes one could use.
Okay, I got it set up, so it is 3 purples.
No, it shouldn't be 3 purples. Who's doing the check?
I'll be doing the check, so I got the dice set up on my end.
I'm sorry. Which character is this?
Asaf.
Okay.
I'm sorry about that.
Asaf's been here for a while. So, I mean, yeah, still 2 purple. But you get all those boosts.
Cool. Well then, good rolls, people.
All right. So, yeah, you know a good alleyway to duck behind. It's one that the gangs kind of stay out of, and it's one that the police don't, or the security of the plant doesn't really know about. So, it should be fine to duck down and catch your breath.
Well then, guess they were really much excited about that personal broadcast.
The broadcast seems like a very good lead to pull at if we wanted to figure out more of what's going on with this blockade.
Well then, apparently it's all over the HoloNet here on this planet, so does anyone have the ability to just very much look up the video?
Marcus can try, depending on if either computers or knowledge underworld, I imagine.
I think that knowledge underworld would be more applicable, mainly because the what do you call it? It's such a underground broadcast. It's not something that is all over the place.
You have to go to the second page of Space Google to find it.
Yeah. And it's buried under,
So
like, 4chan links.
What's the difficulty?
Let's say this one is going to be 3 purple.
Alright. Oh, that's a no. But I'll give a couple boost die to the next person who tries to Google it.
We could just make the argument that you do not know how to get there, but you know a person, and now we just have to head over to ask them. There's an advantage to just being like a side success, like, okay, we can't go through the door, but this wall is here, it's weak.
Yeah, I'd be fine giving you a lead with those 2 advantage.
Alright.
So there are a couple different broadcast stations on this planet, and there are a couple shadow broadcast stations, and the person to ask about those would probably be Boss Corden, who's the local representative of the Tenloss Syndicate.
Well, who wants to go pay a visit to some mobsters?
When you put it like that,
Well, we just were visited by monsters. What's going to be another bunch of monsters? Let's.
No, mobsters.
I see no difference. Well,
So, an entire continent of differences.
I mean, the only real difference is one of them actually has the backing of the government to stamp on your.
shit.
Right, the point is they're not going to be very impressed with the degrees that I have. So somebody else will have to do the talking.
I should point out that you guys have a significant amount of obligation, so your notoriety level is actually pretty high. So it shouldn't be too terribly difficult to get in based on your reputation alone.
Don't worry.
Never mind, he might actually know what my degrees are in, so...
Don't worry, I can schmooze them. We'll just head over there. Hopefully, there's no more of those.
Okay, good. One more thing.
So how does one go to a mob boss to ask him for information?
You don't actually talk to him directly. He's got like hundreds of different lieutenants. We just go get one to think we're his best friend, and he'll talk to us about this, because they're probably also worried about these Imperial Star Destroyers. They tend to be bad for their kind of business.
Makes a great degree of sense, yes.
All right, so what is the plan?
Well, I guess our plan is, unless anyone has any other ideas, we go visit this syndicate, introduce ourselves, and get to talking to someone that might know about this transmission.
Yeah, that sounds about right. We're going to be trying to find our way into talking with the syndicate to see about this transmission. Maybe offer to solve some problems.
I mean, there's not like some sort of crazy ticking clock, is there, gang?
The person who knows about the ticking clock is away from the keyboard right now.
Yeah, that's the joke. It's like...
Well, the ticking clock is the Star Destroyers in orbit.
that we do not know in character.
Well, no, the Star Destroyers in orbit we know about, because those we saw. And those are an existential threat.
Oh yes, but the ticking clock is that interdictor that will make everything not fun.
Oh yeah, no, we got time. So long as things don't get too wild, they won't completely bomb the planet to death.
It's gonna end with the planet being bombed.
So, question: how long has Marcus lived on this planet?
Probably not very long.
Okay.
I would less than the Toydarian, I would say.
Okay, so everyone is non-native. So I'd say if you could give me everyone give me an underworld check with only one purple to see if you know a guy that can get you an in. Okay. All right. Great. So, okay. It's not as bad as
Again,
I
I
thought.
know the same guy. He's kind of not happy to see both of us at once.
All right. So
I have this mental image of Marcus knowing about the underworld because he played the Star Wars equivalent of the Yakuza series. And that's how he knows about the underworld.
Yes. Okay. Great. So that is. Let's just do 2 setback. Okay. So you know a fella. His name is Tem Floors, and he is we'll say a Bothan gambler. And he hangs out at the fancy restaurant across town. Where was it?
It does droid some. It's not dim sum, it's droid some.
Whistler's. It's a high-end cantina that only serves the classiest of clientele.
How are we gonna get in?
Well, I, of course, have a noble regalia and a noble signet. I can make sure you guys are just part of my entourage.
It would not even be untrue.
And if all else fails, we can just ask the server if we can get a contact with them and just have a talk with them.
Yeah, and 10 Floors isn't a bad guy. He's self-serving, so if nothing else, you could always, offer him a favor. I don't know.
Is he the source through which I was contracted by the 10 Law Syndicate, which resulted in my being?
Yeah.
Man, it was super weird using pronouns for this character.
You're never going to get used to it.
So yeah, does anyone want to do anything now, or just keep hanging out in the alleyway?
I think we're going to go get in contact with this person. Hang in the alleyway means just staying put, and last thing we want to do is stay.
All right. So Kazin follows you all with a slack expression on his face, just kind of following wherever you go.
He's just got a T-posing back there.
Yeah, clipping through trash cans.
Or he's like, yeah, if we're going to die anyway, we're going to die.
I'm going to die T-posing. All right,
well,
yeah.
No, he has his comlink out and he's conducting an interview.
Oh. All right, so yeah.
It's unrelated to this entire op.
So yeah, you make your way through town. As stated earlier, the streets are very quiet. Every now and then you see a contingent of stormtroopers patrolling the streets up ahead, but you manage to duck back into the alleyway and avoid notice. It isn't long before you make it to Whistler's, which is still open despite the blockade. Everyone inside seems to be enjoying themselves, trying their best to ignore what's going on above their planet's surface. The bouncer sees you all and blocks the door.
No, my friend. I'm, of course, nobility here. I show him my noble insignet. I would like to be able to partake in this restaurant.
Let's see. So this is a deception? Or do you actually noble?
That's the big thing. My whole character's backstory is I tried to do a revolutionary thing as a noble, got exiled, all of that. So I do have a signia that basically says, yeah, he is noble. And we're in noble regalia.
All right, so he goes, all right, you can go in. The others must stay out here. So
you're bodyguard.
I am going to say that you're going to have to make some sort of roll to allow the others inside.
Oh, yes, of course. I am a noble. What makes you think I am not going to have hanger-ons here that worship my every step? Or every flutter? Because this is a lot different when you...
He seems like he's thinking it over and then just decides it's not worth it. There are bigger problems. He just points and steps aside.
No. You, and I point at the can. You must now announce my arrival to the party.
Oh no, this requires Karmic Knight to be able to pronounce your characters.
You do not know how to say Asaf Mir, the great
Asaf
noble of
Mir.
Bulgaria?
Gand would like the attention of this restaurant known as Whistler. Now entering the restaurant is Toydarian noble Asaf Mir. Please hold your applause until after his comments.
All of the incredibly wealthy patrons look up and then go right back to their conversations.
It does give me a upgrade on all my social checks when I speak to equals.
Oh. All right, so scanning the room, you see the Bothan that both Caban and who's the other one that succeeded? Asaph recognize as Tem Floors, the Bothan informant, I suppose, would be the name for him. So he's sitting at a back table. There are a couple of Bothan ladies with him. And he looks like the typical club scumbag.
So you mean he's got like those frosted tips and all of that? Like a guy from Jersey Shore?
Yeah. Yeah. So he's got like frosted tips all over his fur, and he's wearing like a wife beater, and
Frosted tips.
and a tiny
He's
gold
wearing
chain.
a clock around his neck.
Oh, and he's got a pair of.
Flavor Town.
Yeah. He's given himself a little flavor patch, and he's or soul patch, and he's wearing a pair of track pants. So yeah, he's like a mixture between Guy Fieri, someone from Jersey Shore, and just an Italian mobster stereotype. And he sees the four of you and like gives a wave and makes a motion for his ladies to scooch aside and says, Cabin and Asaph, welcome. Oh wait, no, I forgot his voice. He was going to talk more like Wile E. Coyote. Welcome. Have a seat.
Well then, will do. How's the business and all of that? I'm sure with our recent friends coming up from above, it's a bit tight right now.
Well, enough wheels were greased that we knew exactly what was going to happen, so we're not too terribly worried. Other than that, business is fine. How about you all?
Apparently, Imperials love their margaritas.
Of course they do. They don't seem like the strongest of drinkers.
Of course not. You give them a whiskey, they look at that as some sort of horrible thing. You give them something that's more sugar than actual taste, they'll it's like they're kids.
Well, I'm a fan of that because that means they spend more time hungover and less time hassling me. Now, what can I do for you all? Enough small talk. Let's get right down to the business.
Well, we're looking for a way to just get out of this planet, most likely because of the sort of rapid approach they're coming in with. I mean, they just shot up that random freighter for no good reason, just because it was out in space. And the last thing I want to do is get blown up in space. It's gonna ruin my...
Yes, no one wants that. Let's see, how can we get you out of here? I could always arrange an audience, maybe see if you can obtain a favor from the acting leader of the syndicate on planet.
Sounds good.
Perform a service, receive a service in exchange.
That was my way of thinking, yes. And of course, I would receive a cut as the facilitator of the interaction. Yes.
So everyone wins.
Yes, you get off the planet, my employer gets a favor, and I get a little extra credit slipped to me under the table so I can hide out for the rest of the Imperial engagement with no concerns.
I feel like we should get some of the credits, too.
You mean in addition to getting off the planet past the Imperial blockade?
No. We'll get to that when we get there.
Yeah, I mean...
For now, we have an immediate priority.
It only sometimes hurts to ask. He chuckles and leans back, taking another sip of his bourbon, space bourbon.
Yes. But it also is a lot more effective when you get the liver.
So, I imagine that with time being of the essence, you want to arrange that meeting now-ish, right?
As soon as
Sure.
is feasible,
Time is
we
always of
could-
the essence.
Great. If that's all you want of me, then I'll just arrange a meeting, and that'll be that.
And has one more thing.
He looks and says, well, go ahead, don't be shy.
Gand seems to glean from your demeanor that the Syndicate is aware of what the Empire is doing with their blockade.
Almost. We're not exactly sure what they're doing or why they're here, but we knew about it in enough time to get all the VIPs off planet, as part of the arrangement with the governor.
Gand was simply wondering if you knew why, and now knowing that you do not know why, Gand would be happy to tell you once Gand finds out.
Well, I always pay well for information. Well, all right. Excuse me for a moment, fellows. He stands up and steps away from the table, speaking to a comlink. What is everyone else doing?
Well then, I guess I'm gonna just sit back and relax because we're at least moving forward on something here. Not moving backwards, because backwards would be back with those.
I'm going to try to overhear some conversation in the crowd. See if maybe there's anything interesting being talked about.
So most of the people are just really concerned with what's happening. They're spending a lot of effort in trying to keep from panicking about it. Some of them feel a little off-put that they weren't considered VIPs. So they weren't evacuated with the rest of the 10 loss. But for the most part, it seems like it's just kind of run-of-the-mill chatter. But if you would please give me a, let's say, an easy perception check with 2 setback.
Do I feel like there's any chance of being noticed?
No, it's not an issue of being noticed. It's just listening to the crowd and seeing if you pick up that one little nugget that will push the narrative in a certain direction.
Okay, that's fine. What was the roll again?
It's perception with 1 purple and 2 setback.
produce die because I have sensory tendrils. Yeah, not so much.
All right, yeah, it's basically just a lot of chatter. You do hear someone say the name Evan Bobbs, and then something band broadcast.
Okay, I'll file that away, but that's all I'll do.
So after a few moments, Tem comes back and says, "Well, seems like the name. So who all does anyone actually have obligation to the 10 Law Syndicate?"
Gand does.
Okay, so yeah, so the name Cabin, is it Kalga?
Kaban Kalga.
Kaban Kalga. It appears that name has some standing with the Vizier. So you're granted an audience as of 1 hour from now. I think that was the soonest he said he could make it. He hands you a data pad and says, "Here you go. Just memorize that location and hand it back to me. I don't want to say it out loud. You never know who's listening. And just be there in an hour."
Yeah, I guess we'll get it memorized and we'll get going.
Right. So the location is a fairly upscale apartment building in the residential area of Dormitory. And it's the penthouse, so it sounds super luxurious. Now, do you guys want to do anything before you go there, or do you want to just beeline it for that location?
I think I'm just gonna head there. I don't do well in high society.
Don't worry. I'll make you feel like you're part of high society. My burden to bear.
Gand is as prepared for meeting with the 10 Law Syndicate as Gand ever will be.
Likewise for Marcus.
Sorry, what was that?
Gand is as prepared for speaking with the 10 Law Syndicate as Gand will be.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so you make your way across town. Not making any stops is going to get you there about a half hour earlier than expected. When you arrive at the front desk, a friendly-looking protocol droid sees you and lets out, "Smile. Greet patrons. Hello, friends, and welcome to the Industrial Arms Building, home of the finest apartments of luxury and comfort. Fold arms across chest. Lean back casually to assure that they are not taking you as hostile. How can I help you?"
Oh, my friend. We're here to meet with someone right now, and we are a bit early, so would it be possible for us to just wait for a bit?
Yes, of course. Feel free to peruse the HoloNet to your pleasure. Comforting smile.
Thank you. Well then, we are going to be hanging out in the lounge for a while, so...
Well, if anybody has access to pirate broadcasts, it's probably the Syndicate. See if you can pull it up on their holonet.
All right, so you're going to try and access the Syndicate's private holonet through one of the terminals in the waiting room.
Said we were free to use them.
Yep. All right, so basically when you sit down at the terminal, you have access to all the public stuff. If you want to try and get access to private information, that's going to be a computer's check.
What difficulty?
That's a good question. Give me just a moment. I'm going to say that this is hard, and there are... Okay, so it's going to be average if you don't worry about getting caught, but it's going to be hard if you want to try and access the information with no chance of getting caught. And there will be 2 setback for security protocols that are in place.
Go where Eagle's there.
Now, I'll just do the difficulty when they, if they ask about it, I'll blame somebody who's already here. Blame the Gand or something.
Also throw on, I mean, that's not that it's going to matter, but 2 setback for security purposes.
Let me see if I can do this.
All right. So just an overwhelming...
So it cancels out the advantage.
Yeah, overwhelming amount of success. So you you do find the video. It's in a particularly dark corner of the Syndicate's HoloNet. It's labeled Pirate Broadcast, and I'm guessing you want to pull it up. Oh.
Yes, go down the rabbit hole. Come on.
All right. So,
Always lean into it. It's Star Wars.
yeah, give me just a
Worst
second.
case scenario is we're calling the cops on the plane.
Okay, so when you open the video, you see it's a close up of a man's face, and given the pink coloration of his skin, it's likely that he's a Zeltron. So he is looking at the screen. Seems like he's looking right at you, and it's weird because his eyes do seem to follow you no matter where you move. Like he's talking right to you and says, "Hello. I'm so glad that I could share this message with you. You've probably never heard of the Force, and you've probably never thought that it was anything that could touch your life, but it is. It is. It's so important, and I want to share it with you. So come to me. Come to Cicera, and together we will make the galaxy a better place. We can do it. We can make the galaxy a better place and overthrow the Emperor." Wait, no, never mind. Wait, I gotta remember to erase that. Come to Cicera, and we'll make the galaxy a better place, and I can teach you the ways of the Force. come to me. And then the transmission ends.
Could I get a lore roll on some of the names and stuff like that used there, like Suspira and all that such?
You've never heard of any of that.
Is my connection any better now?
Yes, it is.
Yep.
Alright. I missed basically all of that. Yeah.
Synopsis. It was a Zeltron man giving what Ramba said in Discord, suicide cult sounding invite. Yeah, perfect. And his eyes seem to be following you. So those are the big things. And it also sounded like he really fucked up by mentioning overthrowing the Emperor and then walking it back and saying, wait, oh, never mind, I'll erase that later. So yeah, not exactly someone that seemed competent, but there was something strange about him. For those of you who are Force sensitive, which I believe right now is Kazin, Kaban, and Marcus. Yeah, Jedi was specifically mentioned. No, just the Force.
Oh, at least your dissertations are being mentioned, so he's just learning how to run a cult. That's it, guys.
I should probably spell that in my notes.
So yeah, as after you watch that broadcast, you hear the droid at the front desk say, "Wave in a friendly manner. Hello, friends and people who are waiting for things. Your time is now up. You can meet with Vizier in the penthouse. Have a wonderful day."
All right, you got me. You got me. I was hovering over where I have the Vizier : to put his name there.
What? Oh.
Oh no! I've been tricked.
The worst droid ever. This is like fucking like bought at the goddamn discount barn droid warehouse.
Yeah, why would it say friendly wave? Wave is an action that it can take. It has arms.
Well, no, the droid is literally just reading verbatim the, protocols of how to be polite.
And, yep, so be careful with it.
So yeah,
let's get up to the penthouse.
So the elevator opens up and shoots you right up to the top floor. And as you enter, you find yourself in a sprawling, luxurious apartment, decked out with all the fineries that you would expect from a high-ranking member. And sitting at the end of a long table is a man who is dressed in some very exotic clothing. Everyone give me a let's say a hard lore roll.
Hard is how many difficulty?
3, right?
Yeah, 3.
God damn it.
Holy shit.
It's the only other thing I'm good at.
Well, what do you want to do with that triumph?
Maybe I can learn a piece of information that is relevant to my motivation, but not what we're actually learning right now.
All right, let's see. So are you saying something informative that you could use later?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. All right. Noted. Meanwhile, for Marcus and Caban, given his complexion and the way his eyes look and his actual manner of dress, he appears to be a Kage warrior, like an elite member of assassins, that as of this point is all but wiped out. So he seems to be regarding you with those strange amber eyes of his and says, "Welcome. I am Vizier Corden. Please make yourselves comfortable." He gestures to some actually very comfortable looking chairs.
Well, then I give him thanks, all of that, and I'll go and get myself comfortable.
Yes, Gand is not pretending to be a bodyguard in this scenario, so Gand will make himself comfortable.
So, those seating, notice the Vizier's posture loosens up a little bit. He's still very much on guard and says, "So, Temflors has told me that you're all trying to get off planet."
Yeah, that's pretty much correct, I think. What about you guys? That is the common goal.
Very much so.
And earn a little credit.
I think I can probably swing something. You'll have to do something for me, of course. That's the way this operates, but I know at least one of you knows that.
Service for another service.
What would you say about smuggling some goods for us?
Smuggling some goods off-world?
Yes. That would be your cover to escape.
And we'll be fine.
Sorry, what was that?
No people, and we're fine.
No. No, I can tell you. I can't tell you what you're smuggling, but I can tell you that you would not be smuggling anything living. I take by your silence that means you're still mulling this over.
Well, we're in a bit of a predicament, so I think we will be fine with the smuggling. Does anyone have any,
I don't have any problems with it.
You won't be smuggling anything living?
Oh, okay.
I
yes,
assume
that's
as
fine.
much. Then yeah, if the answer is we won't be smuggling anything living, then yeah, Kaban is a...
Excellent. So here's what I can offer. I can offer you an Imperial VIP transponder that would allow you to simply float past the Imperial blockade and leave. You would then take your shipment to the planet of Biscayne, deliver the goods, and we'll call it even. We'll even throw in, I'd say, 4,000 credits for you and your troubles. And to sweeten the deal, Kaban, I understand that you are maybe still looking for work. I have one person that you could pick up for the Syndicate while you're on Biscayne. Maybe earn some additional credit. Maybe work off some of the debt that you owe. Who knows?
If Gand is asked, Gand will find.
Well then, let's just roll with what I know from having just watched The Mandalorian. He hands you a tracking fob.
Nice.
When you find the person that leads you to, incapacitate him. It is important that he is caught alive, and take him to the nearest Tenloss what would the word be? Establishment, I guess.
Outpost.
Outpost, yeah.
Outpost.
The Ten Lost Clubhouse. Just take him on in. And deliver him, and you will find yourself the proud owner of 10,000 credits. So, do we have a deal?
So I might have missed it. Are we expected to find? This is not a question I'm asking, like out loud. But are we expected to find our own like ship and transportation to do this, or are we being given a ship as part of it?
He did not specify that you would be given a ship. He offered a transponder, payment upon delivery, and the cargo. Any more, and you'll need to ask him.
Yes, I guess I'll do a negotiation to see if he can throw in a ship we can use to transport the cargo and bypass the Imperial blockade.
Real quick, I want to circle back to Darius's role, his triumph, since I just thought of what to do with it. Darius, you don't know exactly what he is, but you've heard of people like this. They're incredibly dangerous. They're typically fairly honorable for assassins, but their power or their skills as warriors is pretty legendary.
Because if we got to steal a ship to get this done, we can steal a ship to get this done.
I can fly it out of here.
And can help.
I'm sorry, steal a ship is what was said?
Well, we do not have a ship, and if they are not providing a ship, and if they cannot provide us with a ship, we will need to acquire a ship by... The easiest method of theft is to simply default on a loan.
You guys are talking about this, like, in front of him, right?
Yeah. I'm not.
No, because
Not
there's no way for us to, like, get around the fact that we don't have access to a ship as far as I'm aware. We all got here.
I just asked him if the ship is actually included, and if not, if we could negotiate for it, and then we will discuss this outside.
Yeah, that's the thing.
That's going to be one of those things where the guy's going to be like, you know, I'm right here, right?
Yeah, so the Ten Lost Syndicate does not have a ship that is available for you free of charge. However, we would be happy to offer you one if the price is right. Or if the credits are right. Price is Right is probably trademarked, and some game show is going to sue me.
Yes. We know that. We know that. We all see the Narshada broadcast of that show. If anything, yes. This will also mean is that we will be having to help the Ten Lost Syndicate more often down the road, just to ensure much more favorable relationships with both of us, right?
Well, if I might make a suggestion, the ship could be provided instead of the 10,000 credits for the retrieval of the certain person.
Oh, okay, yeah, yes. So whereas before the deal would have been you capture the person and then you were given 10,000 credits, instead this would be a offer given to you up front, a cost given to you up front, where if you fail to complete the mission to the satisfaction of the Ten Loss, the funding would be forfeit.
Yes.
We could deliver either the person or the ship, and you would be made whole.
Go ahead and give... What I'm going to need now is I'm going to need a negotiation roll.
I'm gonna lean over to the Toydarian and sort of see if I can very, very quietly whisper, the this guy will literally kill all of us if we don't do what we say.
Yes, and I'm going to whisper back to him, is that the Imperials are going to kill all of us, too.
Oh, I don't think it's a bad course of action. I'm just making sure that you're aware that we will all die.
Oh, yes. So then, this guy is nobility in terms of being a vizier, if we're going with the Arabian sort of...
The underworld equivalent of that, yeah, so...
did the regalia upgrade applies?
I'll say it does, yeah.
Okay, then I'm going to spin a light side. And what is the difficulty?
So it's his negotiation or cool. So you're looking at... I'm going to upgrade it too. So that's going to be 3 red and 1 setback.
I removed the setback and I did it on my end. So, time to roll.
Oh boy.
So, that is 3 failure, 1 of which is a despair. Real quick, what do you want to do with the advantage?
Not die immediately?
I mean...
Well, I assuming is I did not do a diplomatic faux pas. That is for sure. If anything, this is going to be along the lines of him being along the lines of no ship is worth 10,000 credits.
Yeah, kind of, and then some. So he sighs and leans back and then says, as you suggested, no ship is worth 10,000 credits. Perhaps I could give you a higher target. However, if you fail to complete that mission, then you're going to owe us, and just returning the ship won't be enough. This is a much more critical mission.
Well, again, I'm unfamiliar with these things, but let me just suggest, once we're off-world and have completed the smuggling, we will have no immediate need of a ship. So let's say we deliver this target and the ship such that instead of buying it up front, we're more renting it up front.
You see, you're still using a ship to sneak past a blockade. That would raise the alert level that the Imperials have on that particular ship. Even with a different transponder, it would still be enough to decrease its value. So I'd have to say just returning the ship isn't enough. If you complete the mission, we'll call it even. If you don't, you're more in our pocket. I'm sorry, that is my offer. Otherwise, you could provide your own ship, which would be perfectly fine.
Marcus will look over at the Gand and say something along the lines of, do you think you can do a harder mission?
What was the offer?
A more valuable target. A more difficult mission.
Like the offer in full. Like, do we end up with the ship with a more difficult?
Yes.
That wasn't what he said, but yeah.
That is what he said.
Is it what he said? Okay, yeah. So
yeah.
Just returning the ship wouldn't be enough. So you would end up with the ship, no additional credits. He's laying this out.
We get the ship and 4,000 credits. He gets the more valuable target and the completed smuggling job.
Because you're getting a ship, though, he says, I will not be able to include the 4,000 additional credits. You would be walking away with a ship, a transponder, and the shipment, as well as the tracking fob.
No, we're not getting the shipment. That's a delivery that we're making.
Yes, but if you don't make it, that's... Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah. Technically, you're right.
We would be up a ship, and
A ship and
we would have to do the harder job and do the delivery.
Yes.
So we're keeping the ship. That's clear to everyone now.
Is there something I can do to act like legitimately? Is there something that I can roll to augur in any way in this scenario, or is me auguring just going to be me flipping a coin in real life to determine whether or not I am overly confident in this?
Well, okay, so what are you thinking?
Like, this is a scenario in which he very much needs to, in a moment, consult with the truth in order to find, is agreeing to this more strenuous deal the right path? He needs to read the signs, but there is no real way of doing that mechanically, so it just boils down to me kind of deciding if he reads the signs as being for or against the scenario.
So it's kind of one of those D&D wheel or woke augury things, right? Like you're trying to determine if it's going to be beneficial to take the more difficult deal and walk away with ultimately more resources. Because I mean, I spent a fair amount of time looking at ships. You're not going to find a freighter for, I think, less than 50,000. The other thing is that, mechanically speaking, if you fail this mission, that means you're going to be increasing your obligation. If you fail any part of the mission, you'll at least increase a little obligation. So that's a risk. So greater risk, greater reward if you take the more dangerous mission. If you don't want to, it feels like there might be other options that just haven't been thought of yet, or that haven't presented themselves. That might not necessarily be as much risk, but not as much reward.
So Kaban is not confident in being able to accomplish this mission, but if it is the way we get a ship, it's the way if it is the way we can get a ship, it is the way we can get it.
I mean, this is perfect for the sort of like things where we're like, we are desperate, so I'm going with the sort of character thoughts right now. We're desperate, we need to get out. That Jason make mention of the internet.
Oh shit. I'll say
simple yes or no's will suffice. I mean, we're in out of character chat right now. So yeah, I'm gonna say I agree to this, mainly because I got a despair and a failure. So this means I'm gonna have to take this. But this can also be something that can be going down the lines, as we are now going to be obligated with the 10 loss and just trying to clear up our debts with them. Because we have a pressing matter. We need to get out.
Yeah, 10K credits is basically like operating costs for a while. So here's sorry, I completely lost my train of thought there. So yeah, the Vizier stands up and says, "Excellent." He offers you a new fob and holds out his hand for the old one. Unless you want to take them both on. There's nothing wrong with an extra 10K.
Dan is taking both of them,
okay.
Maybe.
So you have a 10K lesser fob, and you have your obligation fob. So mechanically, your group now has 10 obligation to Vizier Corden. And once you complete both parts of the mission, which are deliver the goods and capture the high value target,
Uh-oh.
you'll remove that 10 obligation. So with that in mind, does anyone have a problem with the deal?
I'm on board.
All right.
Yes, no, I am deeply involved. Out of character, I really want it, but that was a moment where I was like, the character needs to consult omens to figure out what's going on.
Do you have any force powers?
Gand has the Seek Force power.
Okay, so that'll help you get the guys. Okay, well then, excellent. Business is adjourned. I'd like for you all to go downstairs and wait in the garage. A hover car will be by shortly to pick you up and take you to the loading dock. Unless, of course, you have any business you wish to conduct before you leave this planet. And given the way the Imperials are here now, it might be a while before you return.
Understood.
So I'd say, I would suggest you to take care of any affairs you have, and meet me back here, let's say at midnight. So that would give you guys about 4 hours, let's say, from where we are right now.
Great. We're going to be trying to make sure we get all our debts settled and then get ready to get going.
So the Vizier bows to you as a group and says, I trust you know the way out. He gestures to the elevator and then sits back down and resumes reading a book.
Well, I will make sure that I have all my shit, but that's really it.
So what I would like to do is kind of go through person by person and just have like a short Cliff Notes synopsis of what your character is doing with the last few moments, or the last few hours on Ord Thoden. So I'll start going backwards this time. What is Asaph doing?
My goodness, Asaph is going to go ahead, and this was a very stressful situation. He is going to make sure he gets something to eat. Because apparently Toydarians have very fast metabolisms. And you see here, my friend, is we also got 4 hours, so I need to make sure is that all of my luggage is going to be packed and noted. Just to make sure that it will be very easy for me and my friends to bring them on board. We succeeded in convincing the bouncer that we were very much wanted, and along with my entourage. So it would not hurt for that to be repeated.
All right. Are you picking anything up from your place or making any other preparations?
Oh man, I just arrived with the clothing in several suitcases. So never got time to unpack. So that's actually a real great thing because now I got a lot less time to actually have to do it for.
All right. So you've packed up all your suitcases and are ready to head to the industrial arms apartment complex. Let's go next with Kaban. What are you doing?
Gand is going and checking out, I guess, is the most accurate terminology for is ending his renting of whatever apartment he's been renting in, collapsing all of his gear into his backpack, and heading to the extraction zone.
Okay. So again, really quick packing montage, and you're heading back to the apartments. Next up is... Oh, shit. Circle Master is leaving. Stay safe, and we'll talk to you later. We'll just have him kind of autopilot this. Next up is Kazan.
I go to the dumpsters behind where the Gand is staying, and find my stuff and get all that together, and then I go to a public terminal or a pay terminal in one of the like shitty, like, you know, lowest rent part of towns or whatever part of the town, and I sign into, like, you know, one of 1,000 like dummy anonymous email accounts or some fucking thing like that, and send a HoloNet message to one that I know my sister uses with all the details on the Imperial message here and the message that that we intercepted and my vision about the interdictor.
Oh, so you're sending that to your sister, you said?
Correct.
Okay, gotcha. All right, noted. Let's see. So once that's completed, you head back to the apartment complex's parking garage, and as you... What?
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, after you.
Well, I was going to do something else as well. But,
Oh, shit, no, go ahead.
Did Vizier indicate he was going to be there when we came back?
He did not indicate whether that was the case or not.
Okay, I will just try to go back early to see if I can be the first one there and maybe catch him.
Okay, so you're heading back a little bit earlier.
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, yeah, no. If we had 4 hours, and you want another scene for the montage.
Yeah, please. Always good with more scenes.
Kaban will be doing his very beginning versions of his of the various necessary rituals to figure out who these fobs are pointing at.
Okay. Let's see. So you're basically trying to get like dossiers on who your targets are?
Oh no, he's taking a couple of candles, setting the fob in front of him, burning it, then trying to read the smoke.
Okay, so what would that tell you?
Omens, my man.
So you're...
He's role-playing.
Oh, no, I know. I'm wondering what role-playing wise you think. So like you're trying to get like, is this going to be a good outcome or a bad outcome, or?
It's the seek basic power, really.
I'm gonna have to look at that. I think
I have a lot of text on it in the summary on my connection.
I got it. Hold on.
But I'm unsure as to, like, the fullities of how to use force power.
Let's see. Lead the way to something lost or forgotten. May spend 2 points to gain insight into the general location or direction of a person or object that he knows, regardless of the distance. So you have the basic power?
Yes.
Okay. You know the general direction that they are. So, I mean, you could use the seek power, but it's basically just going to point you in the direction of Biscayne at this point. Now, if you want to do role-playing elements of it, as far as, like, kind of what to expect, so on the lesser target, good omens. Essentially, there's nothing really to lose. but 10,000 credits to gain. So that's pretty good. But the bigger one, it's a mixture. Basically kind of the same thing that you gleaned from earlier. So kind of a mix of good and bad. So I guess kind of one of the frustrating things about Omens is it doesn't really tell you a whole lot necessarily.
Yeah, so it's confirming the initial feelings, which is fine.
Okay, cool. So you ritualed it out. Good. All right. So, and Darius had said he wanted to go back early. So when you get there, there's a stretch hover car waiting with a Doug wearing fancy clothes. So essentially like a little tuxedo and chauffeur's cap, but made for a Doug. So awful. He sees you and kind of gives you a derisive grunt.
Yeah, I'm just gonna kind of try to lurk around and see if I can find catch sight of Vizier or anything like that while I'm there early.
Okay, give me a perception roll. Difficulty of 1 red, 2 purple, and 1 setback. So you don't catch the Vizier, but you notice there are at least 2 snipers. They've got their weapons ready, but they're not aiming at you. They do seem to be regarding you, though.
Well, I guess I'll just sort of wait and idly use the sense power to keep an idea of who's around me.
All right. So as far as your sense power can tell, it's just the 2 snipers and the 1 Doug driver in the immediate vicinity.
Okay. I will just kind of lurk around and maybe if I'm not stopped, I'll kind of wander around the outside of the building and stuff and maybe see if I bump into him. And if I don't, that's fine. I will just wait there until everyone else gets there.
Okay. All right. So he doesn't seem to be around. And time passes until the others show up. I'm guessing, well, if everyone wants to kind of describe how they show up to the garage.
Kaban has taken his omens as being a sign that, well, staying the course seems like a risky play, but there is no risk without reward. So there is a renewed confidence in his as he walks up to the building.
How about Asaf?
Oh my goodness, you tried bringing in all these bags. I'm happy to have some of my friends here be able to carry some of these. But do not worry, I did not put a bag within a bag just because.
I'm kind of imagining the Toydarian just with carrying a stack of 4 huge suitcases and fluttering really slowly down the street.
Oh yes, especially because you have to realize is when you're nobility, you have clothes for every different moods and occasions. It's like those fancy dinner places where you have a fork and spoon for every.
This is the Jello spoon, and this is the spoon for eating monkey brains, and this is the spoon for.
And then when you pick the wrong utensil, they all look at you like you've just done something completely and horrible.
And you got to use the right hand too. It's very important.
Oh yes, especially it's like in the scene in the Blues Brothers when Dan Aykroyd is just using the wrong cup for the.
So once you all arrive there, the Doug chauffeur hops into the stretch hover car, and the doors all open automatically for you.
Good. Well, let us get in.
So this is riding in style. The 10 Lost Syndicate has spared no expense as far as luxury traveling goes. So you hover down the road, not a bump in sight, and find yourselves in a large, shady spaceport at the edge of town. Definitely seems to be under the radar. I think probably Caban is the only one that's really heard of it. Maybe Asaf. Maybe Marcus read about it. But Caban is probably the only one who's been to this one. So, sitting at the edge of the starport is a real hunk of junk. It's an outdated, antiquated G9 rigger. Let's see if I can actually pull it up. All right, try this.
Oh, good.
Does it appear to be armed?
Yes, it does have some light laser cannons on it. So essentially, it looks like it's just a stock model. It's being currently serviced. It looks like there's a rush job putting a coat of Imperial paint on it to make it look more like it would be a VIP ship to match the transponder. And the Basilisk mechanic who was working on it, or overseeing the final touch-ups, sees you all and comes over. Hey, guys, so glad you're taking this off my hands. This girl's real temperamental, but she'll get you off planet. She'll get you where you need to go. Just hope you don't mind paying a little bit extra for fuel.
How much extra?
I mean, a little bit. You know, you take an extra bounty job here, or an extra assassination job there. It's fine. It's a good starter ship. A little old Gungan lady owned it. Only flew a couple of systems, but man, she just did not maintain it.
Oh, okay. As long as it's not going to be one of those ships where the hyperdrive breaks down and we're stuck in hyperspace.
So far as I know, nothing's wrong with the hyperdrive.
He said that real fast.
You're certainly welcome to do a perception roll. Oh, is it perception or let's see, what is deception? Discipline. You could do a discipline check.
I will happily roll discipline.
All right, give me just a second. Let's see
the
how.
roll.
The thing I'm good at.
Let's see. Yeah, he's a ship mechanic. All right, so it's 2 purple. Oh, I was looking at the other one. Oh yeah, so both of you. He's lying, and as soon as he sees the look on your face, he really quickly amends. All right, it's got about a 5-year lifespan left in it. That's not a lie. So you get a good 5 years with this ship with a perfectly fine hyperdrive, and then you're gonna need to repair it or replace it.
And there's still the backup?
Still the backup. Nothing wrong with the backup. Nothing at all wrong with the backup. You guys want to try again? Same thing, except give yourself a boost die because he's rattled that you caught him lying the first time. Wow.
Really?
All right, so Asif can tell that he's lying again. And when he sees Asif's face, he goes, okay. There's a 6-year lifespan on the backup.
It's more along the lines of there is no backup. The backup is the hyperdrive.
Do you really want to kneecap your party like that?
Oh, no, that's the joke. It's like, yeah, we were able to upturn it, but we dramatically cut its lifespan, all of that.
No, I definitely want to say this is one of those ones where it's like, this is your starter ship. If you're still using this in character in 5 years, you've been making horrible decisions.
Oh yes, no, we are replacing this the first chance we get.
Yes.
I'm back, by the way.
Oh, welcome. Everything fine?
It's this.
Yeah, there's small kitchen fire apparently.
Oh, all right.
Oh, good. It's that station wagon from Family Vacation.
They're putting the wood paneling on it right now. Did it have wood paneling? I don't know.
Well, let's see here. There was a lot of problems with that thing, so I think they were putting wood paneling on it, and then they destroyed his own car in the beginning.
So yeah, quick synopsis of what happened. Everyone did a little montage of getting their shit together before they left the planet, and now they're at the docks getting their ship. Oops. And it's an old G9 rigger with a fault. Well, it's not faulty. It's just got a limited lifespan of 5 years. The hyperdrive does. So, but other than that, it's fine. And they're putting the last finishing touches on it before you guys get it. But it's being fueled up right now. He says. And, look, if I was you guys, I would definitely make sure you know how to fix it, because, I'm not saying anything about the necessary craftsmanship of the G9s, but they are a bit temperamental, and there are a lot of people in space that want to shoot you. So, that's my 2 credits.
Okay. And the life support works, right?
Yes. Yes, it does.
So we don't need to bring in a space heater and all of that to keep ourselves warm.
No. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, it's just the hyperdrive has a 5-year lifespan, and the backup hyperdrive has a 6-year lifespan.
Okay. I think we're good. Anything else? Turn to look at the rest.
Yeah, well. Well, if no one has anything else, he tosses one of you the keys. Whoever catches it. And he says, "It's all yours. Good luck getting past that blockade. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to go home and have sex with my wife."
Hey, I was just watching.
Discipline check.
He's telling the truth.
Okay, good. He's married. That's good.
All right, so the ship is now yours. As you're boarding it, it looks like the last of the techs are just leaving after having installed the secondary transponder.
He did lie, for the record.
What?
He did lie. G9s don't have a backup hyperdrive.
We'll say this one does.
I mean,
Okay.
The big thing is that if we have to resort to the backup hyperdrive, it's really a bad thing.
Yeah.
Hopefully the unnecessary life support will be cut off first.
Hopefully we die before it happens.
Wait, no. Am I the only one who doesn't breathe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I unfortunately breathe.
Oh, the life support is necessary.
Did you choose? You chose to be the non-breathing type as opposed to the ammonia ones.
Lungless Gand.
They're more commonly the finders, right?
It's complicated.
All right. So who is taking what station?
I'll sit in the pilot seat.
Co-pilot.
Captain's chair.
Is that a box you just sort of like slap down in the middle
It's
of
a pile of luggage that I make you make into a chair, and and our historian is in the science station.
I guess Marcus is going to look for the owner's manual on this and see if he can figure out how to be the mechanic? Question mark.
A useful skill.
Oh, so, I'm sorry, who was that was just speaking, saying they were going to find the mechanic station?
Oh, Marcus.
Okay. So,
I thought I said that.
No, you did. I was just multitasking and missed it. So, as you're walking around trying to find like a good place to set up being the mechanic, you find the stockpile of your shipment. And as you get near it, it triggers a little hologram of the Vizier, who says, "Oh, and I forgot to mention one more thing. Don't open any of these crates. If the seals are broken on any of these crates, your mission will be considered a failure. It's not too late to turn back since this information was not presented at the time of agreement."
Doesn't sound like a syndicate at all.
But I would recommend continuing with the mission, as opening up your shipment to look at the contents is very unprofessional in any case.
Is this a live feed, or am I just seeing a recording that triggered on motion?
He says mission ends, and then it stops.
All right, I go back to looking for the owner's manual.
You find the owner's manual.
I would like to activate sense in the cargo hold.
All right, give me a roll. Oh, you did. What range does that give you?
Either engaged or close, but like I'm sensing the entire cargo hold. Like if there's living stuff in the cargo hold.
Yeah, that's right. It's just right now. I think Marcus was the only one who said he was going to be in there, and then Kazan. So it's just the two of you, unless anyone else wandered back there too.
Okay, but the key thing is there's nothing living in any of the crates.
This is correct. The crates are not living.
You did not lie to us. All right, well, back to the pilot's chair, whatever. Not the captain's chair. I don't knock the Toydarian off of the luggage.
No, first order of business is we get captain's chair, as we are going to have to do split decision.
We're gonna weld like a sling to the ceiling or something for you.
A perch, you mean?
In my mind, you sound more and more like Iago every time you talk.
Are you talking about the Gilbert Godfrey Iago?
No, the one from the cartoon.
Oh, okay.
Well, I guess I'll start turning stuff on and see if it works.
Yep.
You close your eyes in anticipation that's going to...
Real quick, a note about the owner's manual. It's just a prayer book.
Oh, God.
So,
how did Warhammer 40k get in here?
A litany of changing the oil.
it also has like a list of services, and it's just blank. So yeah, as Kazan starts flipping switches and loading up all the ship's systems, it very quickly becomes an issue of everything seems to be working just fine, which is kind of a miracle. All the sublight systems are just dandy, really. Nothing to concern yourselves with. In no time, the whole ship is humming nicely, and the control tower gives you the authorization to lift off whenever you're ready.
guess I'll take off.
Wait, did we put the transponder in it?
The transponder was installed, right?
Does someone want to check?
I will very much like to check that. Marcus will, yes.
So it's going to be a mechanics check, just to kind of verify that it was installed correctly. It's going to be an average difficulty.
Gand kind of hopes 10 Lost Syndicate did not put this entire thing together just to kill us.
Suckers! We gotcha! Yeah, so it looks like the ship has two transponders. There's one which is basically it's just a personal use ship. Unclear as to why a personal individual had a ship, a freighter like this, if they weren't going to use it for cargo purposes. Maybe they're just really eager to help people move. But then the other transponder is an Imperial VIP transponder. So it does seem like they were upfront and legit as far as what you're getting out of the deal.
We'll make sure the VIP one's turned on.
Okay, it is on. It is blinking. It is blinking green.
I'll make sure the other one's not turned on, because that would probably be equally bad.
The other one is now solid red.
Okay. Being completely untrained in mechanics, this meets my expectations as somebody who reads.
All right.
It is good. It is bad.
So,
I'll sort of flip the mic on for the internal speakers and be like, everything okay back there?
Yes, in fact, surprisingly.
Small miracles. And then he'll start, he'll light some incense. And he's going to start, he's going to lean forward and pull a paint stick from his vest and start painting symbols on the inside of the cockpit screen.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I love this guy.
So, as you start lifting off, Kazan, you feel a rumbling in your. I'm guessing you put the your personal cargo, your personal cash. Kazan, sorry. You put your personal cache of baubles and knickknacks in like a bag that's on you, right?
Yeah. There's no reason to have it separate now.
Okay. So as you start lifting off, there's a sort of weird buzzing, vibrating from your bag.
Yeah, I guess I'll, when I'm done with my painting my symbols on everything, I will return to my seat and sort of guide the ship with one hand and look at dig through my bag with the other to try to figure out what's making noise.
Can Gand offer some assistance?
So you pull out the strange dodecahedral box sort of thing that you've been carrying around. It's now glowing slightly.
I'll sort of I sort of look at it and just shake it really hard. And then start pressing different faces of it and stuff. Kind of like a person who doesn't understand how a somewhat complex machine works and just wants to shut it off.
So, I think Marcus is Marcus still in the cargo bay, or did he come back up to the bridge with everyone else?
Once he found out that the owner's manual was just a book of prayers, he came back up, yeah.
Okay, so...
Oh man, I just realized how on brand that owner's manual is for this piloting.
So, with everyone in the cockpit, the strange dodecahedron that Kazin is holding suddenly illuminates. Each side starts to glow blue, and all of a sudden, a holographic projection, better than any other hologram you've seen, appears, and it looks to each of you in kind, and lets out a weird, strange noise that Caban recognizes as Gand, which basically just says greetings. He's wearing a set of robes and looks very serene, and that, I think, is where we're going to end it.
Oh, well, just to be clear, Kazin says, "Ah, old one, this is not exactly the best time."
That was the tracking device that we got that did that?
Nope, something I pulled out of my bag.
Oh. I got confused. It's like, what?
Yeah, sorry, the tracking device just beeps as you get closer to your target.
Okay.
Not that Gand really needs it.
Evil spirit within it.
I have also seen The Mandalorian.
And that's the extent of my knowledge.
I haven't, but it sounds like Kasim has a holocron.
Out of character, it's a holocron.
Out of character, it's a holocron.
Out of character.
Yeah,
it's a holocron.
my character would know that it's a holocron, though, so in character, I can say this.
In character, then yes, you know.
It is a
Yes, in character, you're gonna giggle squee.
It is a weird old holocron. It does not look like probably any other holocron you've ever seen or heard of.
Yeah, the fact that it's Gand means it's far less exciting to me.
Yes,
Quite
you
the
have
opposite
your
for me.
hipster holocron.
All right, so post-game wrap-up. Everyone's going to get 5 experience points. If you write down how you acted to your character's motivation on the Something Awful forum, you'll get 5 additional experience points. Then yeah, we'll tally up mission experience at the end of the mission once you guys get past the blockade.
Well,
Baller.
All right. I hope everyone had fun. Are we good to do this again next week?
I'm good.
I won't be here next week because of Super Bowl.
Oh, is it
Sunday.
Super Bowl? Oh, wow. I do not follow that.
That is next week.
Then not next week, but the following week.
yeah, I think that'll work.
I'm good. I'm ready to fail upwards again.
Great. All right. Well, I hope everyone had a good time. I enjoyed it. And I'll talk to you later, but if nothing else, we'll do this again 2 weeks from now.
Okay, see ya.
All right. Night, everyone.
See y'all later.
And I apologize for my many technical issues.
No,
and
no,
whatnot.
not a problem.
I'm glad your house didn't burn down. How about
Yeah,
that?
glad where you live wasn't on fire. Also, I've kind of realized I'm just gonna put that in the chat because there's no reason not being able to just look at the notes I'm putting up together matter.
Oh, yeah. If you're taking notes and you make them public, you also get 2 experience points for that.
Oh, well, I took notes, but his are better.
If
I don't know that my notes are better.
Honestly, I think if everyone wants to make their own notes, I'll give everyone who takes notes 2 experience per session that they take notes. I mean, it couldn't hurt, and you get more experience. So
I might start taking in-character notes where Marcus is constantly befuddled at all the mystics around him, and why can't we have a serious religious discussion without it devolving into Gand?
What I would recommend...
I think the only person that's not a Force Mystic here is the Toydarian, and he's like, well, no one is perfect. Not Toydarian, yeah, well, of course, no one is perfect.
What
Team Mystic against Team Skeptic, I'm on board.
That's a little lopsided.
No, not even in the sense of mystic versus skeptic, but like the weird esoteric Force traditions versus the Jedi Sith dichotomy. Like, my character understands and has studied the Jedi Sith dichotomy, and the Gand Finder whatever is all nonsense to him. It's like lesser.
It's more like a barbaric religion. It's like
Yeah.
primitive understanding of the Force. Unlike the Jedi who know everything.
Shit, I worship
No.
a Nebula, so I'm probably even worse than the end.
Well, if you
You
guys,
know what? It would be a lot better if someone just rolled up an atheist, be like, "No, I worship science."
My favorite.
But my character arc is going to be how atheism is not valid in the Star Wars universe.
My favorite character was playing a Force Catholic in a party with a Force skeptic and a Jedi, and when we encountered like a dark side cave, shouting in the shouting at the skeptic. What was it? Checkmate atheist.
nice. All right. Well, I'm gonna go get some sleep, and I will talk to you guys later. Good night. Thanks for playing.
And
See y'all.